Hey, how's it going, everyone? My name is HNH Jones. I work through the HNH Success Academy for business tips, inspiration, and to be a better you. Today, we're going to speak about leadership. Leadership is a very broad subject, and I'm going to be speaking a lot more about leadership in further episodes. But today's episode, I'm going to be speaking about some of the basics you need in order to be a leader and to embrace leadership at its best from a foundation standpoint. So we're going to be speaking about leading from the front, not being outworked, know your team members, strengths and weaknesses, uplifting, being a sympathizer, a decision maker, and utilizing your team skills. So let's go back to the first one, leading from the front. What I mean by leading from the front is there's a difference between being a leader and being a manager. A manager manages people, that bosses people and tells them what to do. A leader is someone who gets stuck in. A leader wouldn't tell you to do something unless they wouldn't do it, or I've already done it and they're doing something else, or maybe helping somebody else. When it comes to being a leader, they won't be outworked. They are following you, right? And every great leader has to be a great follower at some stage. But at some stage, that followership is going to turn into leadership. And that comes from not being at work. So as a leader, I wouldn't tell someone to do something that I wouldn't do. So what I would do is, what I mean by leading from the front, not being outworked. If one of my team members, someone that's working with a colleague, a business partner, someone needing my assistance, I'm going to help them, but I'm going to show them what needs to be done. And I'm going to come to my other points in a moment. I'm not going to leave no one lagging behind or tell them to do it themselves. I'm going to give them the confidence, show them the tools, show them what needs to be done, and then I'm going to work on myself as well as watching over them, as well as my other team members, as well as doing the things that I need to do to push forward. No, and this comes down to my next point. Knowing your team members, knowing your business partners, knowing the people you work with, knowing your colleagues. What are their strengths? What are their weaknesses? For example, one of my weaknesses, I'm not very good at punctuation and grammar at the moment. Not that I can't. It's not that I'm not acceptable. It's not okay, but it's not of a standard that I think where it should be. So now, if I have a business partner, a team member, a colleague that could actually help me with that, which I have to for their team, what I do when it comes to coaching, I kind of give over to them. They kind of read over what I've done, and then moving forward. That's one of my weaknesses. But I believe one of my strengths is just that I'm a real people person, and I can, kind of deal with conflict, or I'm very open to other people's ideas and finding a way to articulate as best as they can and to give them the foundations. So it's very important as a leader to know the strengths and weaknesses with your team members. Being uplifting and being a sympathizer. Sometimes when team members, colleagues, or business partners have weaknesses, for example, it can easily bring them down because they feel they're letting the team down. They're not as good as they could be. They might be doing it for a certain amount of time, and it just might be a weakness that they find it very challenging to overcome. So you, as the leader now, that's where you come in and kind of work with them on the weaknesses and kind of uplift them and kind of show them ways and means. And even for me, they're doing things aside the 9 to 5 or the job or whatever the scenario is regarding that weakness that they need help with, is for you to sympathize and to lift them up, knowing that you can do anything that you want to do. For things to change, you have to change. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. So what we need to do is we need to show they're doing something different in order to get a different result. Now, when it comes to decision making, as a leader, making decisions can be very challenging. And then when a person has to make a decision, this is where when people procrastinate because they're indecisive, and that could be very, very detrimental to whatever you're doing. Sometimes a decision has to be made. Whether it's the most appropriate at the time, it's better to make a decision and take action than not, and then be indecisive of a decision and do nothing about it. Because what then happens is it then trickles down. It's going to play on your mind and then it's going to deviate for whatever you need to do, and it could be detrimental to the team. So decision making, be very concise and always consult with the team with anything that you're doing in order to have the most appropriate decision at that time. And utilize your team skills, like we spoke about it briefly. If you know a team member is strong in one area and you might be weak in one area, why don't you work alongside that team member to your then boost your skills, but to also strengthen theirs at the same time. And don't be afraid as a leader to utilize your team member skills, because sometimes what we do as leaders is just that we tend to do everything ourselves because we're the leader. We don't always want to give our team members, business partners, or colleagues the responsibility what they need. We know 100% they can do it, but as leaders, we like to ensure things are done to a standard that you're happy with. It's not that you're above anybody. It's just that you like things done to a high standard, and if it's not done to how you like it, it's not always the best way it could be. So it's sometimes being relaxed enough to give confidence to the people around you and to let them sort it out, especially working towards their strengths. So one of the things that I have done, because I do also do coaching. I work with many coaches, and I'm junior coach coordinator with a core group of coaches. There are 3 coaches, and then we have other coaches coming in and out that I work with at my athletics club that I'm based. It's just that I recently, from the tips from the book John C. Maxwell, 21 Laws of Leadership, it's just that I've given the coaches I've been working with on a good 3-4 years now, I've given them lead roles in certain areas. So, for example, one coach is lead of sprints, one coach is lead of endurance, one is lead of fitness. As the coach coordinator, I kind of oversee everything still, but I'm going to give them, the reins to be relaxed and to do the things what they can bring to the group, and we can work with it as together, going on their points, so on and so forth, in order to move our athletes and our youngsters moving forward. We've had great success with many of our athletes being selected for inter-counties and work towards national standards, what we have in our group. But that's only down to, being relaxed, working well as a group, knowing the coach's strengths and weaknesses. And I believe that's one of the great successes that we've had within a group that are coaching and a group of coaches, because the leadership that I've been doing, it's been working quite well. And the support system around the club is also amazing as well. So that's one of the things about utilising the team, and that they're my basic foundations and qualities for leadership. As I said briefly, throughout further episodes of the podcasts, at a later stage, I will be doing reviews on books and 21 Laws of Leadership by John C. Maxwell. I can't stress it enough. I urge everybody to go get that book if you want to improve your leadership, no matter what level you are. In order to be a good leader, you have to be a good follower, and even if it means you have to lead yourself first, you have to do that before you can lead other people. So I'd highly recommend that book. And thank you for listening to today's podcast on leadership. I look forward to hearing from you, and feel free to reach out to me for any leadership tips and strategies that you may need to push forward. Take care, speak soon, have a great day on purpose.